when you focus on who those customers are that are buying all or most of your products and services, and reach out to those customers and try to find out from their perspective why they're buying all of that from you, you'll gather some really good information that will help you then sell to not only customers who aren't existing customers, but the existing customer base who aren't buying all those products and services. Because the reason why those customers are buying all of those things are probably reasons that are shared by other people that you're just not articulating because you haven't taken the time to understand why those customers are buying those things from you. So again, evangelizing that customer base so that you don't need to go out and hire external salespeople is another thing that I think companies can do to scale growth very successfully. Another thing is, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, is you need to measure and monitor financials, but you need to measure and monitor leading financial metrics, not lagging financial metrics. So if every company has to, every company monitors what are sales, how much profit did we make? Those are lagging metrics. You can't impact those numbers. When you know you've made a sale, the sale's already happened, right? So you can't impact it. So it's not important. I mean, I understand for investors, you need to give them those numbers, but what's more important are the leading metrics that generate the sales. What are the things that you do that get you to a point where you actually get a sale? Well, that could be, how many emails did I send out? How many sales calls did I go out on? How many proposals did I generate? How many presentations did I make of those proposals? When you start to articulate to yourself what's that sales process, and what are those things that fundamentally happen before I get to a sale that lead to a sale, and you start to monitor and measure those things, the sales will happen. And so those are much more important than the sales themselves. So it's understanding, what are leading metrics for your business, and measuring and monitoring those leading metrics. It's understanding what you as a business owner, what your skill sets are, and putting yourself in the right place within your own company. So you'll find that successful companies tend to have this tandem Batman Robin team of, you've got someone who is an outwardly focused executive who is building relationships for the business that bring revenue into the business. And that person tends to be teamed with someone who's more inwardly focused, who is focused on building attracting the right people and putting them in the right places, building the right systems, processes, and procedures, so that as those sales come into the company, all of that work is done as efficiently and effectively as possible, so that you're making the most money possible and generating the most profit possible. And those two skill sets tend not to be found in one individual in most cases. But also, entrepreneurs always want to be, I'm the CEO. Well, the CEO tends to be that outwardly facing person, but there are a lot of entrepreneurs that don't like to talk to people, and so it would behoove them to find someone to team up with them if they're that person that doesn't like to interact with other people, to find someone that does and make that person the CEO, and you as the entrepreneur maybe be the COO and a chief operating officer and be that inwardly focused person. But that requires you to be able to put your ego aside, which is difficult for a lot of entrepreneurs. Easy way to think about that is that as the owner of the business and the founder of the business, you own the business. So your title in the business is irrelevant.
Do you think people get hung up on the title of CEO?
Absolutely. And for no reason, because as I said, at the end of the day, you own the business. When the business scales and grows and becomes infinitely valuable, and you sell the company, all that money comes to the owner, So I tell people all the time, I'll sweep floors in my company if that's the best role for me, and I'll bring other people in to run the company. If at the end of the day, in 5, 10 years, whatever the case may be, whatever my exit strategy is, the people that I bring in to run the company are able to execute on my vision and my strategic plan for the business, and allow me to get to my exit, and get to a point where, if going back to what I was saying earlier, if we created a $200 million company in value, and I own 50% of the company, and was able to get $100 million and retire on the Riviera for the rest of my life, if for the next 5 or 10 years I had to be a janitor to do that, I'm happy to be a janitor, and that's an attitude every entrepreneur has to take. So it's again, understanding that, and creating that inside-outside leadership team. Really, the last thing the last element is creating a board of advisors.